It is Friday, which means morning mix time. Time to weigh in on the stories everyone's talking about, from the sour mood facing all politicians these days to some very public cheating husbands and that new exercise edict for women. So here to mix it up this morning, our friend Cokie Roberts. Also, Raquel Welch. We had so much fun with you earlier in the week talking about your new book, Raquel, Beyond the Cleavage. What a title for that book.
Mine would be called What Cleavage.
Say that again?
Mine would be called What Cleavage.
Well, we are definitely ready to mix it up today.
I'm done. I'm going to take them and leave.
Let's start out in Cokie's wheelhouse, politics. Some really stunning numbers that got all our attention. USA Today yesterday. The headline was USA Fumes Over Politics, and it showed that only 50% of the country believes that President Obama deserves re-election. It was even worse for members of Congress. 65% of the public don't think that they deserve re-election. Only 28% think they do. This is as angry a mood as I've ever seen.
And it's all about the economy. And so all of these members of Congress and the president, although he's not up for re-election, luckily for him, have to just pray that the economy gets better between now and November and that people are not as mad. But if it stays with these high unemployment rates and people just not feeling like their own lives are getting any better, it could be a bloodbath for Democrats in the fall.
Are you one of these angry, unhappy Americans?
I'm a little nervous about what's going on, and I think part of it is because there's been a lot of dickering with the economy, and you know, it's supposed to fix it. It's supposed to make it better in all kinds of ways, the employment thing and the overall health of the American economy. But it's slipping all around the world. So I think it's a terrible feeling of insecurity that not only are we as Americans seem to be, you know, losing our status in the world on these levels, but that also there's no place to go because the rest of the world is in a worse shape than we are.
But I think there is something to that, the sense that the future is not going to get better. We're not going to come back.
Well, that's something I think this administration ought to pick up and do a little bit better job on. Joe Biden, to some degree, talked about it cleanly.
Not the BFD moment.
But about how this country is great and it has not lost its greatness and will go forward. And I think that spirit needs to be reinfused, and that can come from the top.
That can come.
But it's enough to say, it's not enough to say that this is a great country. We know that. But why isn't it up to its former glory? Why can't we, you know, seem to pull up our socks at this point? And they are promising. They came in promising that they were going to fix it and make it better, and it was going to all be changed for the good. And I think that's what's very frustrating. And
the president is saying everyone has to be patient. We had some wives over the last several months lose their patience with their husbands.
Finally, about time.
That's right. Tiger Woods coming back to golf next week after his stint in rehab. And this was the one that got everyone's attention this week. Jesse James, of course, Sandra Bullock's husband, says he's now checking in to rehab as well for sex addiction. This has become the new get-out-of-jail-free card.
Exactly, because it's total, you know, it's total baloney. I mean, what is that?
Oh, you don't buy sex rehab?
Well, no, of course not. Of course not.
No, I mean, these guys do it because they can, and then they get caught and
they're sorry because they got caught.
Exactly, and I mean, and they all sort of have fantasies about.
Oh, this is not my fault.
No, it's not.
Why has this become my fault?
Totally not your fault.
Sandra, I had nothing to do with it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It is their fault. But they clearly, you know, just got caught. And what's interesting is that they do feel at least some need to pretend that they're sorry, which.
But that's not the way to do it, is it?
Well, I don't think they are sorry.
Well, because they have to kind of remember what their responsibility is. They took some kind of a commitment.
Guys.
Yeah. Well, but still, I mean, they're also husbands, they're fathers, and they're supposed to take responsibility. Are they adult or what?
No.
Because otherwise it's just like, oh, go stand in the corner over there in sex rehab, you know, and we're sure it's going to make it better. But that's so impractical. And
but that adults and responsibility is the bottom line problem. I did a panel last week with women in the Senate, which was a lot of fun, and they were asked about why weren't women in politics ever caught doing these kinds of things, and Kay Hutchison from Texas joked about it and saying, you know, we're actually busy. We have children, we have the jobs. The idea of arranging that plane to South America, you know, is a little bit difficult to do.
Unless you happen to be a teacher, and then of course.
Wasn't it the Irish politician, who got caught just a few weeks ago? But this first one in an awful long time. Interesting though that in this case, both Sandra and Elin stay out of it. They're not standing by their men publicly. at
No,
least.
well, but don't you think that there's something kind of really cruel about the
Awful.
way the media just lambasts us with this stuff? And they had Tiger for a while by the tail, and they just shook him until he nearly, I mean, I felt sorry for the guy, felt sorry for his family, and now he's sort of calming down a little bit, but now he's going to go back in and be in the public, but now they got to find somebody else, and so it's open season, and it's like
but the media didn't go out and have those affairs with all those
No.
women. It was he
And in
who
both
did
these
it.
cases, people profit by the media as well. We only have
Right.
about a minute left. I want to get to this new study that came out recommending that women have to now exercise 1 hour every single day.
But that's not a lot.
Just to maintain,
maintain
the
your-
current weight. Well, it's not a lot for you, perhaps, and I can't believe we're talking about women's bodies with each other. But but the fact is,
Well, I'm not
for
the
me,
only
that
one
would
with
be a
equipment
lot.
here.
That would be a lot. And then what's the point? Even if you do manage to do it, the men still go off with those chippies. So
Are you pointing to me?
no, I was not pointing to you.
I'm sorry. I've been set up here. I
No,
really
what's
have.
your secret?
No, 30 seconds.
No,
What is
you
your
look
secret?
30
wonderful.
seconds. No, it's not about the. But I mean, this is first of all, this is not news. Women do have to exercise. You use it or you lose it.
That is going to have to be the last word. Here comes the
That was a
computer.
good one.
I am sorry. Use it or lose it from Raquel Welch.